Hi everyone, thank you for being with me today. I'm so glad you finally signed up.
Thank you, Paula, for having me over. Equally happy to be here with you.
Yeah, so just to kind of be a little personal here, I was just going through your LinkedIn profile and realized you had written golf on your profile, and I wondered, is this a sport you played occasionally or just catch up to you now?
Honestly, I think I always kind of liked this as a sport, but I've started playing it more dedicatedly ever since I got to Oxford. Because when we had the opportunity, I had the opportunity to do so. Although my college did not really have a golf team, so I'm the only player at my college. I was a female player in place. Um, and the reason why I really like it is because I think as a sport, it teaches you patience. It's a solitary sport. It's not instantly rewarding, so it's more to deal with discipline than to have fun. And I kind of like being outdoors, so I think that's just the perfect combination of all those things. And yes, it's not a sport that you can get easily hurt into, so I think that's also yeah.
I
So the
can
girl,
get behind that. I
yeah.
prefer non-injury sports myself, maybe a table tennis or badminton. It's lighter, easier on my brain, I swear. Well, I'm so glad we are doing this because we do know that getting into Oxford is a huge deal, but could you walk us a bit about your pre-Oxford journey, about your background like, and why social intervention program at Oxford?
Right. So I've been working since 2013 and I have been studying alongside. So I was in my undergraduate program. I was doing an undergrad in physics, maths, and computer sciences when I started working. But I have been working in education for the majority of the lifespan. I've worked in education. And alongside that, I have been pursuing different degrees. Like, so I did finished my undergrad, and then I did a master's in English linguistics and literature because I was really fond of literature. Then I did an MPhil in education, leadership, and management, but I have been working full time in academia primarily. In 2019, I launched my own organization called Aleph, and what we have been doing ever since then is that it's a socio-creative enterprise, and we have been designing interventions which are focused on education. Briefly, in between, I also got a chance to work in the policy sector and helped uh, different social interventions to scale. One initiative that we worked on was focused on climate justice. Another one was focused on criminal justice. So I think these things have been going alongside. So going to Oxford, I think when we were chatting off camera, I was sharing with you that it's not something that I'm immensely grateful for the fact that I'm here. It's the kind of place that really helps you build an acumen if you have that kind of passion and potential. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that I always wanted to go to Oxford, and that's not something that I had thought that one day I'll apply to Oxford. To be honest, I had never thought that I will apply to Oxford
Yeah.
because it just never really occurred to me. For some reason, despite being successful by social definition, I always thought that perhaps I had this bit of an imposter syndrome, that I thought that, oh, maybe I won't get in, right? So I
Yeah.
never really thought that I would apply. But then eventually I saw this program called Evidence-Based Social Intervention and Policy Evaluation. And when I read the objectives, um, it just looked like something that I was already doing. And I was like, oh my God, somebody has really gone out and written a degree program about it. So it would be interesting to apply. So I applied to two schools. Only ever applied to two schools. And I got into both, but I got into Oxford afterwards. So like this was in March 2024 when it was my mother's birthday, and I woke up in the middle of night and literally I just got this email, and I was like, my first instant reaction was that, oh, I'm sure this would have been them telling me that you didn't really make it, and then the first line read that, congratulations, you've gotten in. So
Amazing.
that has been a bit of a bittersweet journey like that, but yeah, that's how I got to Oxford. Um, and right now, I think I'm the third person from Pakistan who's gotten into Oxford and first from Punjab in this particular program. Before me, there have been two individuals who have been in this exact course, one from Karachi and one from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So it's a very interdisciplinary course. It's at I think it's designed for people like me who have a knack for sciences and who are also very passionate about social sciences. So I think it sits at a convergence between both. And my work here is focused on. I'm currently looking at how artificial intelligence is changing the landscape of interventions and policy, and that is my area of expertise, and that's what I'm currently doing my research.
That's
More
very
specifically,
interesting.
into
Yeah.
education.
You are researching currently the influence of AI on intervention. That is such a new and emerging area. I don't think people are researching enough on this.
There is work being done around the world. I wouldn't say that I'm the first person to do so, but yes, in the context of Pakistan, we really don't have enough. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that's not even an embryonic state. We are still at a 0 point. There are efforts being put into place. Like we have the national, it's called the National AI Task Force, which I'm also a part of. So there is some inertia that's happening in the country now in this particular domain, but I would still say that we have a long mile to go, and there's a lot that needs to be done if we compare it with how globally governing bodies are taking actions, and one act after another is coming out every single day. So there's a lot that needs to be done in this particular space.
Well, I'm glad you are doing this because earlier I recorded one other podcast. They are an incoming PhD scholar to National University of Singapore, and their area of interest is AI and moral judgment, how AI impacts human judgment at the end of the day. And I spend my whole day about AI, so I'm very much interested in chatting more with this on you. But on this note, we do have a lot of students and applicants, especially with experience interested in Oxford for the obvious reason this program really needs their interest. But would you say anything about the GPA requirement at Oxford, and other than GPA, what should people be doing to improve their chances of getting in?
Honestly, in hindsight, I mean, it's a given that Oxford accepts people or offers people to join who have stellar grades. But I've also observed this during my time here and maybe reflecting on my application that there has to be something that you are exceptionally good at. And then you have to be very, very authentic about it. For instance, in my case, this was. I talked a lot about education for sustainable development. So, in my application, at that time, I was the first person from the country to create a toolkit focused on whole school approaches to sustainability. So that was an intervention I definitely talked about. And I personally think that if I look at it from a bird's eye view, you don't have to copy anybody else's story. I think I'm saying it because I didn't really go through thousands of applications. I probably just Googled how to write a personal statement and I ended up writing one. So it has to be very, my advice would be to be very, very authentic with what you want to do and ask yourself that why are you doing it. Like I said, I told you earlier that I applied to Oxford because this program was a perfect match to what I wanted to do and what I have been doing. So I just felt like this is just the right blend of and this is probably going to take me where I want to head in life. So I would also advise that you don't just apply because it's a big name. You apply because indeed it's a big name, but that big name would not really matter if it is not something that is a natural fit with you. So it is very important for you to figure out and sit down with yourself and ask yourself that why are you doing it in the first place? Because if you have that why sorted, I think that will truly reflect in your application as well, and you'll be able to put down a story which truly belongs to you. Um, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I wrote a very unconventional statement of purpose, which started off with a dialogue that I had with my mother, and literally then I connected it with one of the experiences that I had when I went to UNESCO, and then I related with social interventions, and I just discussed that how it is an issue of social justice and how education is important, and all those numbers, etc., etc., and then my personal motivation for the program and all that. So I think in a nutshell, it has to be your own story, and it has to be aligned with what you intend to do with your life. So I would spend more time on that than the application. And then another thing is that um, I mean, I didn't really put in everything that I was doing because I think I'm one of those people who has been doing lot many things, and I have very diverse array of interests. You don't have to put in everything in your application. I mean, Oxford's application gives you that spot where you can add extracurriculars, talks, etc., etc. So I did divide my particulars into two categories, that okay, these are my goals which are aligned with my program, and this is what tells my story. For instance, in the past I've done I have been engaged with theater for social causes. I mentioned that I've been very engaged with climate-oriented initiatives. I feel very strongly about gender issues. So I think I did mention activities pertaining to that. Writing is a personal passion of mine, although I don't get to pursue it as much as I would like to. So I did mention things of that sort as well. But even despite that, I made sure that there was one thing that was completely tying my whole story together, and that was my passion for interventions and why it is so important for me to do this degree, and how it is a perfect natural fit in my story. So that's what I would mention. And I'll also, at the end of the day, I mean, I've also learned this during this experience, that you don't have to tie your self-worth with you getting accepted or not,
Yeah.
or you getting a certain scholarship or not. I mean, this is also a very reductionist approach, I would say, to think that yes, your application is the best, you've done your best, but then just leave it. It's okay if you get it, it's great. If you don't get it, it's all right. It's not the end of the world. It's just one program.
Yeah, that's mindset. Yeah.
You have the whole life in front of you. And I mean, this year I only applied to two schools, but a year before that, I applied to states to one university for a PhD, and I didn't get in, right? And that was not even a top tier university. That was not even a top tier university. I just by the way applied, and I was like, let's try how it goes. I didn't really get in. I didn't get any scholarship, nothing. So this year I only applied to two schools. I got into both were the programs of my choice. And at Oxford, I got funded as well. I got a scholarship as well. So I think, and but during this journey as well, within Oxford only, I applied to over 11 scholarships, which were Oxford-based scholarships. So once you get an offer, you then either you'll be considered for one of the Oxford scholarships, which are inherently there, that you
Yeah.
have submitted an application and you'll be considered, or the internal Oxford scholarships that you apply for, right? So I applied for almost 11 scholarships, did not get a single one of them. And some of those were, and in my opinion, looking back, I think I was a good fit for that. I wasn't really underqualified, but I felt that I would have been one of those few people who would have
Yeah.
made the cut.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that. Ironically, the scholarship that I got, it's an international scholarship. It's called Spirit of Hong Kong International Award. It's launched for the first time this year at the Lady Margaret Hall, the college that I'm at. And that had to be awarded to one individual, right? And I remember the application had to close at 12 that day. I had gotten a decision from another scholarship the same morning. And I wasn't even thinking to apply for this because I in my mind, again, looking back, I think I'm being very candid about it. I felt that
Yeah.
going to be so competitive. So many people are going to apply for it, and there's a highly unlikely chance that I think if I didn't get those, the ones that where I felt that I was a natural fit, perhaps I wouldn't get this one too. But as fate had it, I got that one. So yeah, in a nutshell, again, don't tie your self-worth to a certain scholarship or a program. Keep giving your best. Make sure your story is very authentic. Make sure your why is sorted, and then let fate do its thing. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll end up with something nice and something that, even if you don't end up with what you want in the moment, just know there's always a bigger plan at
Yeah.
place. I think I'm a bit into spirituality. I believe that there's always a bigger plan out there that sometimes we don't even know.
Yeah. I'm very big on spirituality, but also humanity. That if you work hard in your life, you don't eventually land something bigger. You don't see it in the first moment, but when you do get something bigger, it's like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for that. I'm really glad you got the Hong Kong scholarship. And I remember that time when we were talking back then, and I was asking you what is this scholarship about, and could you share some information a bit? Is it going to be continued for the next intake as well? The Hong Kong scholarship, Spirit of Hong Kong.
I believe it would be continued for this year as well. And it's something that I think the college invites you to apply for. And then there are four essay questions, I think, if I'm not wrong. But then basically they test who you were as an individual, what are your current plans, and what is the kind of impact you have created and what is the kind of impact you intend to create. So essentially, in a nutshell, you can say that it's very oriented towards your leadership potential. Whether you have that kind of leadership potential, how many people are you going to impact, and what kind of causes are you very passionate about. So I think that's what they'll really look at. That's all the information I can share. I honestly, I don't know if that's helpful, but they do look at the fact that what kind of ownership you have of the causes that you care for. I mean, if I look at my application, I think I majorly talked about the things I was very passionate about. It was not very academically challenged because I think academic scores are already with them, right? So that's something that they would have reviewed by that. But they look at from the person who awarded it to me, like I'm not going to name that individual, but later on when I got here, we had a conversation. He mentioned that out of all the applications that he looked at, one thing that really stood out was the leadership potential, that the kind of impact I wanted to create. So maybe that's one thing
Focus
you
more on
should look
that. Yeah.
at your application. Yeah. And then there are other ways of funding your studies as well. You can reach out to philanthropists and social organizations who are interested in causes as you are. So perhaps, or there are scientific labs who can support your education. I mean, that's a difficult route and very, very unheard of route, but that's also something you can consider if you're not willing to let go of your offer.
Thank you very much, Aruj. Well, I'm going to get a bit more candid with you here. More like we are talking a lot that as international students and women scholars come into a very prestigious program and very prestigious university. How has your perception of your work? Has people started to take you more seriously? How have you grown more professionally in the limited time you have had so far at Oxford?
I mean, it is a privilege being here, I'll be honest. It is a very bubbled society. That's how I like to put it. But at the same time, I'm trying not to let it get to my head in a certain way. I don't want I mean, I love the fact that I'm at Oxford. It's a very academically enriching environment. It gives you the right kind of opportunities. It's very intellectually rigorous and challenging like that. But at the same time, I don't want my entire personality to be about it only. I want to be a representative of Oxford and not just carry a label for the sake of it.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to be remembered. As far as my perception being changed is concerned, I think I've realized how much I don't know. I knew that I had a hunch that I don't know a lot about this big magnificent world, but ever since I've gotten here, I think this is a perpetual realization that keeps coming back to me that oh my God, there's just so much to do in this world. There's just so much to learn, such exciting ideas out there waiting to be explored. So I think that kind of curiosity has really rekindled ever since I've gotten here. And that's something I'm really enjoying uh, because I think I'm a naturally very curious person. And
Yeah.
um, I, leaving the safety of a full-time job and like a very established career and then coming here and then not having that kind of financial freedom is also something that's very humbling, and at the same time getting to understand how they grade you, that has been strenuous in a way, but also I think that challenges you to rethink about your ideas and engage with it very critically. So Oxford, I believe that it does inculcate this immense sense of thinking critically about the problems of the world and thinking critically at least at the level of education you are in, because all the assessments are highly engaging in terms of every assessment has an aspect of critical thinking, which is generally the majority of the chunk. So you can't just really reproduce it like that. So you generally have to really think about it and you have to make sense and connect all the dots. That's one thing that has changed. Other than that, I love the city. It has a small town academic, Harry Potter inspired vibes, and I'm a Harry Potter girly through and through. So I think that's something that has been a cherry on the top. I don't think so. I'm a very big city girly. Although I've lived in big cities in Pakistan, I love living in Lahore and also in Faisalabad where I come from. But I like the vibe. and I like the opportunity, the intellectual opportunities this place has to offer.
Yeah, yeah. I think I can agree and back you up on the intellectual vibe around you because seriously, it's something I crave a lot, especially when I want to research on something and I don't have the environment for this. And being at Oxford or any of the prestigious universities, even if it's not so prestigious, but something out there, because I remember you were sharing your dissertation topic. Was it pre-planned? Like, would you be looking at AI and social intervention from the start, or is it something that evolved over your MPhil program here?
No, this is something. So as far as my dissertation is concerned, I knew that I wanted to do this before even I applied. So like I said, in my case, I looked for a program that matched the project that I had in my mind. Even in Pakistan, I had been working in this space. I was working in educational space, and I was in the past 2 years, ever since the AI generation, or you can say the
Yeah,
evolution started. Well, it has been around as early as 1950s, but then it really came to boom. Then it became a social justice issue. Then it became an issue which needed a lot of solutions. I think I kind of knew that this is the direction I want to head into. But once I got into the program, it gave me that freedom that I could combine my background in sciences with social sciences, and look at a research area which sits at a convergence between both. So yeah, that has indeed been there. It has helped in a way that when I got here, I got to obviously run these discussions with my supervisors, and I'm doing some work in Pakistan as well pertaining to AI advisory and AI governance. So I think all these dots just naturally connected, and everything fell into place. I didn't really have to struggle a lot to find my thesis topic, primarily because I applied after knowing that this is what I want to do my thesis on. And it's okay if you don't know that from the get-go, but I believe your dissertation has to be in something that's an area that you can solely engage with for say 9 to 10 months and not lose interest in. If you try to do something just because everyone else is doing, or that just seems like the next hip thing to do, I think that's a recipe of disaster. The only Because there are going to be days when you'll feel really horrible about it, I'll tell you that.
give me a
Despite
break.
how much you want to study, how much you want to do well, there are going to be days when you'll be like, oh my God, what am I doing with
Yeah,
this? I don't know. Where is this even headed? Um, on such days, your genuine passion for it and your why and why you intend to do this, and if you're genuinely curious about the area of expertise you want to specialize in, I think that helps. At least that's how I review it. In my mind, in this particular, I would say, in this particular avenue, it is important for me to get a good score at it. I mean, that's a very South Asian female
okay.
girly thing to do. But I think what's more important is that I'm trying to enjoy the journey to the best of my abilities. I mean, it does get strenuous at times, but it gets very strenuous at times. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's also quite intellectually rewarding like that.
Mm. Okay, can I get more like personal here? Because I know we read a lot of instruction on website, but like talking with scholars on their real lived experiences are it's seriously helping a lot of applicants make up their mind which offer to accept and which offer to decline, because knowing that graduate programs will always be there, but your experience is limited. So I think on that note, I want if you can somehow share with us that this was particularly very difficult for me despite my extensive experience here. Anything that came up like this?
Um, I think if you'd ask me for a sense of advice, I'll categorize it like that. I'll start off with humanistic experiences and then go back to the degrees.
Yeah,
First of all, for girls, especially young girls like
yeah,
me who are applying, I would say apply, take your chance. You don't have to bet against you. There's so many people out there who'll bet against you, so you don't have to be that one person. Um, Secondly, what I'll also say that don't undermine yourself. I mean, I've done that historically, right? I still do that sometimes. Imposter syndrome is very real, and I think I always thought that I have been seen as a very confident,
yeah.
outgoing person, but I had that in my mind. I still get that doubt sometimes, but I'll also tell anybody who's watching this that you are where you are because you're trying to make your way through it, and as long as you're working hard, as long as you're sincere about what you want to do, I would say don't look down upon yourself and take your shot, but also be strategic about it. I think I have not been the person who I wouldn't want you to apply to say 20 schools and then not do applications which are well thought of. Instead, I would say have a strategy, apply to 2 to 3 colleges which are a natural fit to what you want to do. And if you want to play it safe, maybe apply to 5 colleges, 2 top tier schools, 1 middle tier school, and 2 schools which are not that high in ranking, but they are a natural fit to where you want to do, where you want to go. So I think have a strategy to
Yeah.
where you want to apply and what you want to study. It's also important. For instance, for me, it was very important that I don't go because I had never studied abroad. So I wanted to go either to the UK or I wanted to go to the US where there is some family of mine, because I wasn't really sure that I would be able to retain myself and be able to sustain myself without meeting my family for so long, because I'm a homebody like that. But I think it's also one factor you can think of, that what kind of city it is, where are you going to be based, how safe it is
Yeah.
for people to navigate life on your own, how expensive it is going to be, what is your backup plan, and what if, and always think about that what if you don't get it, if you don't get it, what is it that you can do in your own sphere, because you're not going to just stop there and thinking that, oh, this is the end of the road. It's never the end of the road. Nothing in life is end of the road ever, um, except when it's actually end of the road.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's important to keep a backup plan as well, that okay, if this is not workable and if this doesn't really materialize as I'm envisioning it to, maybe my second strategy would be this. I'll also say that don't be very desperate about a certain offer or a certain school, for that matter. I mean, it helps with jobs, it helps with your career, it helps with your social standing, but what truly would help is that the skills you acquire and the kind of spaces you're putting those skills into use. So I came to Oxford after being the person I am. I think I've been in industry for around 10 years. I went to UNESCO based on my degree that I acquired in Pakistan, right? I've gotten a chance to speak at international forums based on my work that I did in Pakistan without having any foreign qualification. So I also would say that don't associate too much value with labels. I mean, if it comes naturally with it, if a
Yeah.
label comes with it, that's great. But I wouldn't say don't kill yourself for a certain label. Um, yeah, that's all I would
I
say. And
can tell. Yeah.
enjoy yourself. Nothing in life is worth taking that kind of stress that you kill yourself and your motivation and you make yourself miserable.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it works out. But at the same time, yeah, one last thing I want to mention is a lot of people have reached out to me this year specifically, ever since I've been in Oxford, to read their applications and give feedback. I'm happy to do that. My only beef with applicants who do not put in effort in their own applications is that you are setting yourself for failure from the get-go. You should not expect a counselor or a person who has written your statement and then expecting that to get you into a top tier school. That's not how it works. I mean, I'm not even a consultant. I have no expertise in, but I can assure you, if I were sitting on the admission panel, I, I'm sure anybody can tell that this is something that is genuine. This is something that's written by a counselor, and this is something where the story doesn't really add up. So please do put in the effort.
Yeah.
Do take time to think about your own life and write it down. Another thing is, don't write generative AI generated applications. It leaves a
Yeah,
really
no,
bad.
it sounds so
Just
robotic and artificial on it.
yeah,
It should.
it sounds robotic in a way that every if imagine an admission committee is looking at 500 applications, all of them are used or have used generative AI in one way or another. How are you going to stand out?
Yeah.
How is your story going to be authentic? You don't have to write very complex English, to be
Yeah.
honest. You just have to write something which is yours and which translates your story in the truest way possible. So please do put in effort. Don't bug counselors like Hola. They are very supportive people, but I would say don't bug them by asking them to do your application for you.
Yeah.
Then I don't think so. You should be going for that degree to begin with if you cannot even write an application to begin with. And this is an acquired skill. Anybody can learn that. You don't have to have gone to a high-end school, or you don't have to have gone. You don't really have to be educated in a private school to have that kind of skill. There is YouTube.
Yeah.
There are free resources available out there. You can Google everything and you can just chalk out an application. But expecting others to do that and fight your battle for you is, I think, fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for highlighting. They welcome to my world, but that's why I push people back. That come on, let's do some writing, some thinking. But I feel like this is my opinion, my experience. You might have a different opinion, but feel free. I have seen that when applicants do not have enough experience to back up their story, that is at the pinpoint when people just want easy solutions. When you don't have enough experience to back your application. That's why I prefer build some experience, any kind of experience, so that you have something to back up in your essay. This is my observation for a while. And I think on that point, that's why people kind of want to aim higher, but they're not being realistic with their own effort to begin with. That ties in a lot of what we have been talking about. Okay, I want to go on, but let's just wrap it up. And any personal reflection, like outside of academic or anything that you would like to share to anyone listening today?
Uh, I'm going to retire early. The goal is to slow down um, early in
Yeah,
life, and I think I'm gonna resort to writing, and live a very non-luxurious but very grounded life. But I still would be very passionate about building interventions. I think that these are a few things I'm interested about. I'm very interested in politics, but trying to lay low on that front
yeah.
for now.
Yeah. On that note, is this program helping you prepare for a PhD or is it something in your pipeline?
I would apply for a doctorate because there is a project in my mind again that I want to do. Whenever fate had it for me, and I found the right kind of supervisor whose skills, whose expertise matched with what I want to do, and also the right kind of program, and then the money.
Yeah,
Funding has to be there, then I would definitely take that on. But I think this year I don't intend to start off with it. I do have a standing offer for a doctoral. I got into a doctorate this year as well, but I'm not going to start that this year because I want to take some time and tie a few projects
yeah,
together. I'm doing another project, I'm doing a project called Eco Schools, which is Pakistan's first nationwide intervention, which is funded by Interloop in Pakistan, and is also a project that we're doing in collaboration with the University College London, UK, and we're trying to build Pakistan's sustainability acumen with schools being its locus. And we are looking to impact around 1 million individuals, inshallah, in the next 5 years. So I want to tie these initiatives together and do some writing on the side for academic purposes. And then maybe if it comes
yeah.
to it,
I
PhD.
did read about that EcoSport and that nuclear collaboration. It was very interesting. And I think when you are so visible online, people do understand not only the work you are doing, but what intervention looks like in different countries around the world. So thank you for being very visible there.
No, it's very fascinating like that we have currently 100 school leaders from all over Pakistan who are designing their own educational interventions. So we have people designing from climate initiatives to moral based initiatives to the initiatives for differently able children to initiatives focused on AI and tech. We're actually having a leadership summit in the start of August. I don't know when this will be posted, but that's also due in August. So what really matters to me at a personal level is that we're able to
Yeah,
create inertia like that, and their 100 minds were equally engaged with it. And imagine when those 100 minds would go back to their respective spheres, and how many other minds they can impact, and this chain continues. So
yeah.
that's personally very rewarding to me as an individual.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this work, and I hope you keep doing this even on the days when you don't feel like doing, but keep up your
Thank you, Kala.
passion. And thank you for being with me today. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Kala. All the very best.
All the best. Thank you.